Hi, my name is Adriana and this is my spring TBR. So I did not make a TBR for the winter season 2023 to 2024. December, I was just trying to catch up from the year. January, February, most of that was occupied by Squash That series, so I couldn't really come up with a planned structured TBR for that. But now that we're in the spring, I'm not really planning on doing any readathons for the next couple months, so we can kind of like sit down, do some prioritization, and really think about what we want to read in this spring season. And it's just kind of wild to me that it's like already spring because like I just didn't feel like I really got a winter. I don't know. Ski season wasn't that great. We didn't get that much snow here. Like I only shoveled the driveway once this entire winter, so it doesn't really feel like a true winter, but I guess we're going with the calendar and jumping into spring. So before I jump into my grand plans for the next 3 months, please consider liking and commenting on this video and subscribing to my channel if you like bookish things. I will start with my NetGalley arcs because I do have a couple that are going to be archiving in this next spring term that I would like to get to. The first one being Orphea and Eurydice. I'm assuming this is an Orpheus and Eurydice retelling, which should be fun because I haven't read one of these before. Its published date is April 2nd and its archive date is April 23rd. The next one I would like to read is actually a sequel to a different NetGalley arc, so I got approved for the sequel, which is always fun, and that is A Murder Most French. So this is a series of cozy mysteries that is, well, the first one was led by Julia Child's neighbor, and Julia Child also is like vibing in there because she is the accused murderer. So I'm excited for this one. More Julia Child shenanigans, more Paris in the 50s shenanigans. Should be a good time. This one's published date is April 23rd and its archive date is April 30th. The next arc I have coming due is The Ministry of Time. I was sucked in by this cover. I remember reading the synopsis and being like, that sounds really cool, but I can't remember what the synopsis is now. And, you know, me personally as a reader, I prefer not to know what's going on in my books before I jump into them. So it is what it is. I'm excited to read it because at one point I was excited to read it based on actually knowing some things about it. The next NetGalley arc I have is The Sunbringer, or I think it's just called Sunbringer, by Hannah Kaner. This is the sequel to Godkiller, and I got Godkiller in an Illumicrate box while I was still subscribed to Illumicrate. Even though I canceled my Illumicrate subscription because I bought the first one, Illumicrate gave me the option to purchase the second one. So I did do that because even though I'm trying to spend less money on books this year and not just buy special editions just because they're special, I did really enjoy Godkiller. And I was gonna read Sunbringer anyway. I might as well get a really pretty version of it. And because I had already ordered a physical copy when I saw it was on NetGalley, again, I knew I was gonna read it, so might as well get some credit on NetGalley for it. Oh, and it is publishing March 12th and archives May 7th. And then the final NetGalley arc I have coming due in the spring is Those Beyond the Wall. This was an unexpected sequel to The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I mean, this book like reads like a standalone, finishes it up real quick, but I guess she was really inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement of 2020 and kind of the activism that has been taking place since the pandemic, and felt really compelled to expand on this world and this story and write a second book. So I am very, very intrigued by this sequel and what it's gonna do, because I don't know. I also don't super duper remember what happened in this one because I kind of speed read it, but I do remember really enjoying it. So hopefully I can pick some things up as I go along. Okay. And then next up is something I haven't done before in one of my TBRs, but I want to go through my library holds and just like get a feel for what I have going on this hold shelf and if I think I will actually read them in the next season. So first up, we have interesting facts about space. I don't remember what this is about. A fast-paced, hilarious, and ultimately hopeful novel for anyone who has ever worried they might be a terrible person. So I feel like that's all of us. But I think I saw this as I was like perusing through the newly added books in one of my libraries, so there we go. I'm excited to read it. This next one, Who Moved My Cheese? This is kind of for work. If you've ever been in corporate America or manufacturing, like you probably know about Who Moved My Cheese. It's kind of silly, but like I just want to reread it because it's going to be expected reading for one of my work projects. I have read it at one point, I can't really remember, but I will probably get to this in the spring because I need to. Your Dad Will Do by Katie Robert. This is for a project. Might get to it in the spring. I don't know. I would like to get to it in the spring though. The Bullet Swallower. This was actually one of my anticipated releases from my January book tag. I'm still really excited to read this. I want to get to it soon if I can. Jesus from the Olympians graphic novel series. I don't know if I'm actually going to read this. I got an arc of this same author's Asgardian series, like his first one in the Asgardians, and it was fun. It was fine. I would probably have a better understanding of the Greek mythology ones just because I am so much more involved in them, but I just don't know if I really need to read it. I don't know. I still have it on here. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to get to it in the spring. I should probably just release that hold, but I probably won't. The next one is Womb City. This was another one of my anticipated releases from that January book tag. I do want to get to this in the spring, but we'll just have to see how the hold releases for me and if it releases at a decent time. If not, I will just stick it in hold jail like I have the rest of these. The next one is Migrations. This is again for a project that I would like to get to in the spring, but we shall see. This one, A Map of Future Ruins. This is another one I saw while perusing newly added stuff to my library. It is on, I guess the tagline is On Borders and Belonging. I would like to be a little more educated when it comes to stuff like this, so this is a book I would like to read. The Tower of Nero. This is the 5th and final book in the Trials of Apollo series, so I would like to read this because I would like to finish up that series and be done with it, and I just didn't get to it and squash that series, so I will be listening to this at some point. Haunted by Myth. This was... I didn't end up getting it as a NetGalley arc, but it's one I kept seeing pop up on my NetGalley arc recommendations. I don't know. I don't know if I want to read it or not. We'll see. It's in my holds. And then this one, The Space Between Worlds. Yes, I have read it. Like I said, I don't remember a whole lot, so I was thinking it might be good to listen to the audiobook and just get a little refresher on what that story was. Because I remember like general plot points, but as far as like details of the characters, don't quite remember. Godly Heathens. This was one I found looking at new releases in my libraries. I think it's like an indigenous based, like, oh, it's contemporary, YA contemporary fantasy duology. So, I don't know. It sounded interesting, but it is YA, so we'll see if I actually want to read this or not. The Center. This is one I've been wanting to read for a while now, and it is a huge wait from the library, so it is in hold limbo. And then finally, Monsters. Again, it's about a 6 week wait. I heard about this on Lena Norm's channel, and again, I don't really remember what it was about, but I remember thinking, that sounds interesting. I should put a hold on it, and I did. And it's 6 weeks out. So those are all my library holds. Will I actually read them in the spring? I don't know. But I also have a stack of physical books over here that I would like to try to get to in the spring. So this could end up being a ton of books. The first two of these are actually physical arcs that I got from Celadon Books. This one is called Like Happiness. It's like a contemporary literary fiction-y one. Complexities of gender, power, fame, told through the story of a young woman's destructive relationship with a legendary writer. It sounds very interesting, and I really like the cover, which is generally a good sign for me. This one goes on sale March 26th. Looks like it's gotten praise from a bunch of people. I should probably read this. The other arc I have is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I have heard so many mixed things on Alex Michaelides. What really intrigues me about this book specifically is it's like a bunch of rich people on a Greek island, and then there's like a murder mystery sort of thing happening, which gives me very much like Glass Onion vibes, and I really loved that movie. So if it's like anything like that, I think I will enjoy it. Plus it came with like this talking card.
The wind was fierce that night, the night of the murder. It was ferocious.
And I love a gimmick, so if you give me a gimmick, I will read your book. So this one has been on a TBR before, but I really do want to read it, and that is Once Upon a Prime. I won this in either a Goodreads giveaway or like an Instagram giveaway. I can't remember. I won this in some sort of giveaway, and I really want to read it because it talks about the connection between like mathematics and literature, and I just think that is something that could be really fun and interesting for me. Another one I really want to get to is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I feel like I kind of missed the boat on the hype train for this. I'm mixing my metaphors. We're doing boats and trains. But I missed the hype a little bit on this one. I waited a little too long. I'm not really hearing too much about it now, which makes me a little nervous. Like, I feel like if it really were like impeccable, people would still be kind of talking about it, because it didn't come out like that long ago, but I do need to read it because I bought it. And then finally, my last physical book I want to read is Divine Might by Natalie Haynes. This, like Pandora's Jar, is a non-fiction kind of reference text, and I think this one focuses specifically on goddesses. Yeah, so we start with the Muses, then Hera, Aphrodite, Artemis, Demeter, Hestia, Athena, and the Furies. So I'm really, really excited to read this because I really enjoyed Pandora's Jar, and it has given me a lot of insight to different Greek mythology retelling stories when I read about like those specific women. So I'm also excited to read this on the goddesses and how they've been portrayed in Greek mythology, and different feminist kind of readings into how they had been portrayed. I am probably most interested to read the section on Athena because Natalie Haynes is like kind of an Athena hater. So I'm interested to see what she has to say about Athena as an archetype, as a goddess, as whatever. And then also the section on Hera, because one of my other favorite Greek mythology retelling authors, Jennifer Saint, has a book coming out about Hera later this year. So it'll be fun to have some reference, something to reference back to. Those are all the books I want to read in the spring, or might read. I don't know. This isn't so much a hard list as it is options to pick from as I'm going through things. You know, just kind of based on how I feel, what's going on in my life, what I want to be reading. I'm doing a ton of traveling over the next couple weeks, so I don't know how much physical reading I will actually be doing because when I travel I do prefer to have my e-reader with me. But I guess maybe something like this I could bring, and it will definitely take me a solid week to read it, so I won't feel weird about only bringing this for a trip. We'll see what we have going on. So let me know if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.